If you would like to know about the possibility that wearing bras may be harming your health, you clicked on the right video. Hi, I'm Dr. Cori Stern, and welcome to my channel, Take Control of Your Health. If you have not already subscribed and have been meaning to do so, please hit the subscribe button now. That's my reward for doing these videos. And if you find the content helpful, please make sure to press the like button at the end. And last and most importantly, please share this video with anyone that you know that you think will benefit from the information. So I haven't had a guest on in a long time, and I'm so excited to have this particular guest, someone whose work I've been following for many years. I'd like to introduce Sidney Ross Singer. He is a pioneer of applied medical anthropology and the author of numerous books and several groundbreaking theories, and is known for challenging medical orthodoxy, which is what this channel is all about. So, as I mentioned, today's topic is how wearing bras, are harming your health. And Sidney is an expert on this topic, and I think it's critically important. So welcome and thank you for taking the time out of your day to be on our show and sharing this really vital information with probably millions of bra-wearing women.
Well, thank you for having me. It's wonderful to be able to share this information, and I appreciate it.
Sure. So let's get right into the topic. And my first question to you is, how did this happen? How did it come to be that women feel like they need to wear these, what I call contraptions?
Well, the history of bras is bras and girdles were the descendants from corsets, which were killing women for centuries. I mean, throughout history, there have been times in history when women, where men and women altered their bodies by either putting bands around it or tight fabric or tattooing and piercing and all sorts of body modifications people have done throughout history. And whenever you do something tight, though, on your body, like wearing a tight garment, you have impacts to health because it affects your circulation in your body when you have anything constrictive. The bra was a descendant of the corsets. For hundreds of years, people were complaining. Health reformers were trying to get rid of corsets, which were squeezing women to the point of bone deformity and internal damage, and it affects all these organs and circulation and so forth. And women were literally fainting and having heart problems from this. And it took hundreds of years to get rid of these things. Foot binding, by the way, was a very common thing for like 1,000 years in China. That was messing up feet. I mean, the toes would curl under the feet and literally rot away. It was crazy. And that was erotic. So you have, I mean, men would enjoy taking the shoes off of these women who were hobbled on purpose as a way of control. And they would clean their feet for them as part of a ritual. And it was this erotic thing for Japanese culture for hundreds of years. So in our culture, the corset about 1900 was being really criticized for all the problems it was causing, and it was broken down into the bra and the girdle, and they're still constrictive though. And the problem that is with clothing is it's, first of all, it could be toxic and it could be tight. The more toxic it is, obviously, anything in your clothing that clothing is made up of fabric and chemicals. And if it's polyester or anything synthetic, it's actually plastic, literally. In fact, water bottles, the same plastic water bottle that you drink out of, they get recycled into, they're polyester. And they get recycled into the same polyester that they make bras with. In fact, there's a big industry recycling that. It's all polyester, and it breaks down, and the chemicals that leach out of it go into your water, especially under sun and heat. But it also, when you heat these garments and they're in the sun, these things break down, these fabrics, releasing toxic chemicals into your skin that gets readily absorbed into your skin and has to be flushed out. And there's actually the lymphatic system, which is your immune system's circulatory pathway, that actually starts as tiny capillaries in your tissue spaces and helps flush fluid and waste products from these spaces to lymph nodes that look for infections and see if there's an immune response that's necessary. And eventually the fluids return to the bloodstream. But the way our bodies work is we're filled with fluid, and we have like a tide that comes and goes, and we flush throughout the day naturally. Our bodies actually change shape. The breasts get different shape throughout the day, throughout the month. I mean, our bodies are moving and they're soft on the outside. So when you put any garment or tight anything, band, around any part of the body, it's going to interfere with that flow. And it'll cause areas of the body to get congested with fluid. It builds up, called lymphedema. And when that happens, the toxins that we're exposed to in our food, air, and water, and all the pollution, all these plastics and all the drugs and everything, that's very, some of it's carcinogenic, causes cancer. Many of them are toxic. It has to be eliminated. And to be eliminated through the liver and kidneys and so forth, it has to be flushed out of the tissues. So as it courses through your body, it needs to be flushed away. And if you're wearing tight garments, they, especially a bra, which is extremely tight, it's meant to be tight, which is the problem. It impairs this circulation, and the breasts end up building up fluid, and that they'll feel painful. If your breasts are painful, they shouldn't be. There's a normal breast that's never in a bra, that's never compressed or constricted, would never by nature just be painful. I mean, that's not the way the body was designed. The reason it gets painful is because when women cycle through their menstrual cycle, their estrogen goes up and down, and their fluid in their body ebbs and flows, and their breasts actually get bigger before their period when their estrogen peaks, and they're typically wearing the same bra. So what happens is the tightness of the bra is even more pronounced when their breasts are bigger at that time. So they feel more pain, and they get cysts that start developing more and are more apparent, which are the fluid collecting because it's being backed up. It can't flow out into the armpits, which is the direction that the breasts mostly drain. So you're wearing a bra, it goes over the shoulder, around the breast, holding them in. And if it's a push-up bra, pushing them in and up, and altering the shape, lifting them and applying constant pressure to reshape the breast, which is the purpose of a bra. To hold, the word support means hold up in the context of a bra. And to hold them up, it has to put pressure on them and keep them in a different shape than gravity and nature would have them. That pressure cuts down on this circulation. So all of these toxic chemicals in our bodies that we're exposed to that should be flushed out can't get flushed out of the breast as effectively. So the breast will get chronically toxic, filled with fluid. And most women in cultures where they wear bras have this problem. It's women have cysts and pain, which is called benign breast disease or fibrocystic breast disease. It's not benign when you're in a lot of pain. And most women are wearing too tight a bra. Even the bra industry has done research on this. Like 90% of women are wearing the wrong size. And it's hard to wear the right size bra when you think about a bra that's designed to make a push-up bra. What is the right size for a push-up bra? They are by nature constrictive. So if the idea of a properly fitting bra means non-constrictive, then they don't exist. You'd have a camisole. Because every bra is designed to change shape. If it's not changing shape, if it's like a sock over your breasts, just sitting on your breasts, no shape change at all, we don't have constriction. But you still will have possible toxic exposure to the fabric, because if it's plastic and it's filled with chemicals, then those are going into your skin. So anything as intimately associated with your skin as a bra, where your sweat is mixing with it, it's warming your breast tissue, and the detergents and fabric softeners and dyes and everything in that bra, the formaldehyde it could be made in, which Victoria's Secret was sued for with their bras, that can cause cancer. Because formaldehyde is a carcinogen, and other carcinogens that are in our bodies that need to be flushed out. You know, cancer cells are forming constantly, but the immune system has to fight them. It recognizes them. And one of the ways it recognizes them, I know I'm going on and on, I'm sorry, just jump in anywhere. One of the ways it recognizes them is that cancer cells give off chemicals, certain chemical signals that are specific to cancer cells. And that flows in the lymph fluid that surrounds all of our tissues, all the cells in our tissues. And that fluid flows to the lymph nodes. And the lymph nodes, if they detect that chemical, they elicit a response to fight that cancer. They say, oh, there's a cancer cell, and they found it. Sometimes the cell itself might move, but often it's in the tissue space, in the tissue, connective tissue, and the stroma that holds the cells where they are. But the chemical signals flow. Now, if you constrict the breast, not only are you keeping those signals from communicating with your lymph nodes, but you're also preventing the immune system's white blood cells from coming in effectively and fighting the tissue. It's like cutting it off. Now, when you have a plant and you put a tight band around a tree when it's growing, it'll restrict its growth and development because circulation is essential for life. If you don't circulate, you deteriorate. It's as simple as that. And we have all these mechanisms for detoxing, but they will not work if we don't circulate and expose all of our body's fluids to these detoxification mechanisms. So no matter what your nutrition, what you're taking into everything that we take in, if we have constriction in our bodies, it's going to kill the part that's constricted, period. There's no way around this. It's a mechanical problem. And that has been the problem with medicine. They ignore this simple mechanical problem. While there's a whole bunch of studies showing that tight bras do a lot of things. For example, you ever see the grooves in the shoulders that women have, large-breasted women? Those grooves impinge on the nerve going down the arm and causes numbness and tingling in the hands. It presses on the muscles, causing headaches and all sorts of spasms there. And the bra industry has passed this propaganda to sell, saying you need the support. No, you don't. There's no, you don't need to lift the breasts up. There's nothing for that. That's cultural and fashion. And that somehow the bras will prevent this problem of breast sagging, which isn't a problem. But by the way, bras, I should add parenthetically, they cause the breast to sag, which is a big bra sales piece. Women think if they wear a bra, their breasts won't sag. It'll keep them supported. The thing that it does is it makes them full of lymph fluid, making them heavy and painful and toxic. And the internal suspensory ligaments that nature gave the breasts to keep them in the shape that they have, to bounce when you move and to sustain a certain degree of movement that's natural for women, they have suspensory ligaments, the Cooper's ligaments. Now, if you support the breasts artificially in a sling, which a bra essentially is holding it, these ligaments don't get to be used. And one of the things about ligaments is use it or lose it. And if you put your arm in a sling, you would get ligament weakness and your shoulder would get weak. Well, the breasts are in a sling from puberty. So women don't develop the proper support system for their breasts, and they become dependent on the bra. So when they take, because they're getting it from puberty, and if it's in early puberty, they're putting it on like a 9 or 10-year-old. Their bodies are so easily impacted by a constrictive band that won't allow the breasts to develop properly. So we have a culture that wears bras with a huge multi-billion-dollar bra industry. And it's been happening since the 1930s, 20s. And it's causing disease from constriction that includes nerve compression and includes some other things that I'll mention. But this is enough. Nerve compression, fluid accumulation, toxin accumulation. And studies have come out also suggesting, like there's dozens, that it's linked to breast cancer because you're accumulating toxins in that area. Although mainstream medicine is still saying that there's no research in that, except for one study that was done that said there wasn't a link. It's a study that they actually did to discredit this, because this issue is actually a big threat to the medical industry, because they've ignored a variable. It's like ignoring smoking with lung cancer, which they did for decades and fought, because everyone smoked and the tobacco industry is very powerful. And the 1930s, 40s, and 50s, when studies were coming out linking cancer with smoking, there was a tremendous amount of resistance because doctors smoked, everybody smoked, they would freak out. It was like blaming the victim. There was all sorts of concerns that, oh my God, we can't tell people that these products that we've been touting are hurting them. And then there's the tobacco industry, and they don't want to get sued like they've been. And then, so it was tremendous cultural resistance. That's what we're facing with the bra industry. the medical industry is going to have to take on the culture to attack this, and they're not built for that. They can't even make people stop smoking. So we
But
have a big problem.
in addition to that, women are going to be resistant cosmetically speaking. So
Yes.
there's that whole other added component of women going, well, what am I supposed to do? Just let them hang? That doesn't look attractive.
Well,
So
actually, wait, I disagree with that, though. That's a
no, I'm
cultural
saying
assumption.
that's what
That's
women
the
feel.
culture.
Right.
That's what women are
Yeah.
being told because we have
Right.
bra industry and cosmetic surgeons.
Right.
But if you accept women for who they are, I mean, I know how many women reject their husbands as they get older, as their testicles sag. I mean, men get sag too, but it doesn't matter. And if so we're buying into that is a very important point you made, because the cultural issues have stopped the recognition and research. So there's a paucity of research. They don't want to look at this because it's going to cause lawsuits. And the bra industry now funds cancer research. They do directly. The American Cancer Society sells bras, so they're not going to want to come against. They've been 30 years saying this is not a problem for cancer, but they're all admitting that if you had breast cancer and you had your lymph nodes removed, which they often do to stop the spread, it also stops your lymphatic system from working properly, and you can end up getting completely swelling of your arms and breasts.
Yeah.
And they tell you don't wear a tight bra because a tight bra can interfere with the lymphatics and cause lymphedema. But they don't tell you that before you had your lymph nodes removed, but it's the same problem.
Right.
So you got to realize that in the medical world, there is no such thing as pure science. Medicine is a funded business and is focused on treatment. This is why I left medicine. I was in medical school. I was an MD, PhD student. I was the top of my class. And I have a background before that of PhD work at Duke in biochemistry and in anthropology. So I've been in 3 PhD programs in medical school. And when I came up with this theory, I could tell you it's quite credible. And they knew about it in the 1930s. That bras specifically were causing all sorts of health problems. Women in the 30s were using minimizers to look like the flapper look, where they reduced their breasts to look more masculine. They bobbed their hair. It was a masculine. It wasn't a big breast look. It was a masculine look. So they would bind their breasts, and doctors knew it was causing cancer. There were articles about it. John Mayo of the Mayo Clinic wrote about that. They were acknowledging that in cultures where they don't bind their breasts and compress them, breast cancer is rare. And so it was known in the 30s. They also knew in the 30s when you block the lymphatic system, it could lead to cancer. It's associated with that. It's your immune system. No matter what the insult, if you get mammograms every couple of years, you're irradiating your breasts. Irradiation is a known cause of cancer. It breaks and it's cumulative. Let me explain what that means. That means you don't get better every time you get it. The damage is added. The damage done is added. So it's not like an injury, you recover, like nothing happened. No, every year you get those x-rays, it's added up. And every year they'll tell you, oh, the amount we're giving you is safe, but it's better than last year. It's gone down. But last year they said it was safe. And the year before, but it went down from the year before, which they said it was safe. So none of it is safe. There is no such thing as safe exposure to x-rays. There is no such thing. It's all cumulative. So what happens? Your breasts after your x-rays are going to have to flush out the x-ray damage, because x-rays are like bullets going through your tissue, and they hit DNA and they hit other things, and it causes x-ray damage. You have to flush that out with your lymphatics. If you don't have lymphatics working because your lymph nodes are removed by the doctors after breast cancer prevention or whatever they do with the lymph node removals, you are not supposed to get x-rays on your breast regularly, because you can't clean up from damage like that as easily. You have to be careful of infections and of tight clothing and of anything that can constrict you. But that's the same all the time. So you have to understand that these damages are not easily healed when you constrict your breasts with a bra. And
And
that's the
not to
bottom line.
mention also that during those x-rays, they're actually causing some tissue damage because of the compression, this extreme
Yes.
compression, especially for large breasted women. The compression can be very almost unbearable, which is why I offer thermography as a
Hmm.
service in my
Hmm.
practice. Thermography, I actually have a video about that, which I'll put a link in the description of this video to my thermography video, is a way of looking at the breast tissue using an infrared camera. And you can clearly see when there's lymphatic drainage backup in the tissue with the infrared,
Yes.
which you cannot see with the X-ray.
And
And yeah,
ultrasound, I think ultrasounds would be a good follow-up with the thermography.
yeah,
If I was, that's what I recommend to women, is not to go to x-rays first for soft tissue,
right.
looking for calcifications. And I mean, the obvious better tool is thermography and ultrasounds. But we have a world that makes money on x-rays. Interestingly, oh God, it's so hard not to talk about some of these issues and key words, but there's so much history I have with that issue. And the promotion of mammography has been at the expense of women's health. It's all about detecting disease once you get it. It's not about preventing.
Prevention.
When I was in medical school in the 80s, they were talking about introducing mammography because they wanted it. They didn't know what was causing breast cancer. They still don't. I mean, they can only explain like 5%, maybe to 10 is genetic. The rest they don't really know, and they're in the darkness of that, they're just ruling out certain things because they're unpalatable and inconvenient truths. Like they don't want bras to be the problem, because that will embarrass that industry tremendously, and they're supported now by that industry. I mean, there's too much money, and that's the problem I was saying. There's too much money in medicine to get any truth out of this, and I'm really scared that that artificial intelligence is going to magnify the misinformation and make it so much more difficult to find things that aren't being promoted by mainstream, which is going to make money for people. They only promote healthcare is in the United States, especially, which is a capitalist country. Everyone is in it for making money. And in the United States, healthcare is basically an opportunity.
It's not healthcare, it's sick care and symptom management. So
Exactly. And when you come
that's
up,
why I have this channel, is to whatever degree counteract some of that. Hmm.
well, that's why I was attracted to doing this with you, actually, when I saw the title of this show. I think that's awesome. And there's so many other discoveries that we've made that are culture caused disease that relate to, that's what we call it. I mean, when I left medicine, I hope you don't mind this interview going into new directions, but there's
Go
so
for
much
it.
to share.
Hmm.
Good, might as well. There's so many easy things to know that are all mechanical. And as a chiropractor by training, I'm sure you appreciate the importance of mechanical forces on the body. And everything that I've discovered was a simple, common sense mechanical problem that is completely ignored by medicine because its remedy is virtually cost free, and it challenges all of the money in diagnostics and treatment, and it challenges industries that make the bad products that we're using that are harming us. Bras are one example, and they cause other problems too. To finish that whole thing, let me just say that the biggest thing, we're doing an international bra-free study, which is still ongoing, and people can participate at brafreestudy.org. And it's free. And we have women just get rid of your bras and tell us what you feel. I'm even going to hope that you do this with some of your patients. See what happens to them. It's the most remarkable journey of recovery. As soon as they end the constriction, they will feel, number one, every one of these women, I've done it now on thousands of women around the world are participating in this study. And we've discovered that everyone says they could breathe easier, literally, without a tight band around their chest. And we confirmed research that's already been done out of Japan that they do studies, a lot of studies on ergonomic clothing and its effect on physiology. And they found that tight clothing, including a tight bra or a girdle, interfere with the sympathetic nervous system and actually change your salivary melatonin levels. It changes your body temperature. It slows digestion and increases constipation. And it actually changes your menstrual cycle length. And we actually found that from some of the people that were doing this, getting rid of their bra. And there was this, in this study, for example, it was mind-blowing about menstrual length. It went from 45 days on the average for bra users. They took off their bras. It went down to 30 days on the average. They put the bras back on and it went back up into the 40s. Literally cause and effect, impingement, compression on the nerves in the body, cause body-wide autonomic nervous system dysfunction.
That makes total sense to me. So the sympathetic nervous system, I've talked about it in other videos. That's the part of the nervous system that governs fight or flight, so it has a lot to do with a lot of different body functions. And I think it's 90% of your sympathetic nerve fibers are in your skin. So compressing those nerve fibers can cause all kinds of consequences. And, it's interesting because while you're talking about this, I'm thinking about the fact that I can't stand having anything tight, any tight clothing on me, including socks. I've had,
Oh yeah.
I have had an issue with finding socks in the winter because I live in a cold climate in the winter that can keep me warm, but not constrict me.
They're too tight at the top. You got to get diabetic socks. That's what I use.
Exactly. So that's what I
But
ended up getting.
what's interesting about socks? They're a very interesting story that relates to this. Did you know where one of the highest sites for melanoma, which is the worst form of skin cancer, right? Melanoma, that is more rare. But the biggest site for melanoma is the bottom of the foot. And so it has nothing to do with sun. In fact, melanoma is only under the parts where we cover the skin. You usually get it on the trunk, the front and back of the trunk, and on the feet. And it's like where you're covered. So I think and they don't know what's causing that, but they know it's not the sun. And what I think is obviously causing that is the toxins in our clothing that are against our skin and we're soaking in. And if you constrict it with tight clothing, now look at socks. You have the shoes, which you talk about chemicals. You got in shoes. Oh my God. You got everything from leather chemicals to the glues to the everything,
They put
shoes.
formaldehyde as a preservative in shoes, in many shoes, in clothing too. But when I buy shoes, I have to open the box and let them off gas outside for a while. Having dissected cadavers for 4 years in chiropractic school, I'm extremely repulsed by formaldehyde. And the minute I smell it, I feel sick. And,
I know what you mean.
And if I open up a box of new shoes and that smell comes out, I'm like, oh no. And you can't know ahead of time. There's no ingredients on them.
Oh no. And then what are you doing? You have a sock and your feet are in the shoe, and the sock could be mostly has a lot of synthetic stuff in that too, which is breaking down. And now your shoes, you're sweating. So the sweat mixes with the shoe chemical and the top of the sock is impinging on your skin and impairing the lymphatic drainage from the feet up your leg, which has got to go. Lymphatics have to go against gravity. So they have one-way valves that keep it moving in one direction. That's how the lymphatics pump. They have a passive system. That's the problem. That's why they're so easily compressed. So you have your feet basically marinating in chemicals, toxic chemicals, and then the skin that's absorbing it can't even flush out properly because you're wearing a tight sock that's why you take your shoes off your feet. You see that indentation where the sock top is. Your feet are swollen with toxic fluid.
That's why I, whenever possible, do not wear anything on my feet. Yeah,
absolutely. I totally agree. We raised our son to be barefoot, but the thing is, that connection so explains the problem with clothing. Our clothing is toxic. It breaks down if it's synthetic, and most of it is, and because of easy ironing, and all of the flame retardants, and all of the things in clothing, anything that makes it stretch. The only thing that's non-toxic would be like cotton, hemp, wool, but even wool is treated with chemicals. The cotton can then be treated with chemicals.
You can get organic cotton clothing. I have organic cotton sheets on my bed. Those things are available, and then you have to be careful and of course how you wash them, because the detergent also, I think I have a lot of videos on this, and I wash my stuff in washing soda, which is like baking soda, but it's a stronger version of it and non-toxic. So all
Oh,
of
that's good.
that, yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, that's so the clothes is delivering the toxins, and then if you have
Right.
in tight clothing, it's concentrating them in the organs that are constricted. So if you're a man, you don't want to wear tight underwear. You don't want to, just leak. You don't even need underwear unless you
Tight
have leakage
synthetic
issue.
underwear.
I
Yeah,
know it's
yeah,
terrible.
yeah.
And then with a woman, the most intimate clothing a woman wears is her brassiere. And then you ask yourself, what's the side of the body with the most cancer in a woman?
Yeah,
And you start seeing connections here.
yeah.
And so bras can cause all sorts of problems. There is no good reason for them. You don't need them if you're big breasted. In cultures where they don't have bras, women have very low rates of breast disease, and large breasted women are healthy. I went to Fiji and did some research on this too. I did a big study on this in the US, which is in my book, Dress to Kill, which I highly recommend. And thank you. That's the original edition. There's a new one that came out in 2018 with studies from around the world since then, because we were the first to study these particular links between bras and the development of cancers. So we are since then it started just opening Pandora's box, and there's been new bras that have come out that are sold as being non-toxic and looser. There are patents based on our book for bras. It's really amazing. I've been contacted by bra people saying that they've tried to come up with this new product. What do I think? And I don't endorse any bras, but I've seen for 30 years now, I've seen some better products. And now if you go to a bra store, underwires are not even, they're going to be harder to find. They're going to be mostly loose, selling on comfort. Women want that. And you know what really helped? The pandemic. Because during the pandemic, women didn't have to wear bras. They stayed at home and were comfortable doing it from Zoom. And as a result, they discovered what it was like to be bra free. And the reason that this information is out on the internet, you're going to have a hard time finding it because the biases and the internet algorithms will keep you on mainstream, focused away from the issue of bra caused problems. There's a big industry that's two big industries, the medical industry that makes money on the disease and the bra industry that's causing it, and they work together.
Do you have
So,
links on your website that women can
yes,
find better quality
go.
bras?
No, I don't promote better quality bras. Women should go bra free, in my opinion. There's no
It's a
reason
good
for bras.
gradient though. So for people, so for women that are
Sure.
not ready yet to completely give up a bra, I know you have some recommendations on there for
Right.
wearing looser fitting sports type bras,
Well,
if they're going
sports
to
bras,
exercise.
I'm
That,
glad you mentioned sports bras because some
yeah,
women think that that's the answer, but it isn't. Sports bras are extremely tight.
right,
Now, if you want a sports bra for control of movement, like a man might wear a jock strap,
yeah,
and it's just while like playing tennis and you
right,
only want it then take it
exercise,
off right afterwards.
right.
But you don't want to think of it as like the go-to thing to always wear. And I think you need to look at why you're wearing a bra in the first place. You've been conditioned. It's a cultural conditioning. There's nothing wrong with not being bra without a bra. And if you try being bra free for 1 month, give yourself one menstrual cycle, you'll it won't even, women have said that their breast pain goes away before their period when they get rid of their bra. They breathe easier, their self-esteem improves, they feel more confident, they don't feel like second-class citizens that have to wear a bra to have the right breast shape to be acceptable in public. I mean, come on, we're supposed to be liberated now.
Do
Women
you
don't have to put up with that.
do you have any advice for nursing women?
You don't wear a constrictive bra. You can maybe cradle your breasts in some sort of a hammock, or don't constrict it. Nursing bras can be extremely constrictive, and you don't need them. I mean, if you're a very large breast, my wife didn't use anything. I mean, she has no problem with that.
Mhm.
I mean, do you have any thought? What are your thoughts on nursing bras? You seem, obviously you've thought about this a lot.
Well, I have to deal with this on a daily basis. Yeah, so a lot of women do have discomfort with nursing and they think nursing bras are a solution. Um, we like to recommend very natural solutions, like literally if you're feeling swelling or inflammation during nursing, use a cabbage leaf. Actually, take a leaf from green cabbage and mash it a little bit, and you can warm it up.
Poultice, right?
A poultice, yeah, those kinds of things. But
I bet you these women are wearing bras, though. If they're wearing a bra, there is going to be lymphatic impairment. And
yeah,
that's like when you're lactating, that is the worst time to be
right,
constricting your breasts. So I don't think we need nursing bras.
yeah,
These are industries coming up with product use.
agreed.
That's what
Yeah.
they're all about.
One of the things that I use very frequently for lymphatic drainage in relation to breast tissue, but not only, I mean, this is good for the entire lymph system, is a supplement called Spanish Black Radish. And what's in there is just what it says. It's a type of radish that helps to drain and pull stuff out. We find that when my patients have thermography and we can see all the gunk that's going on, not just in the breast tissue, but also in the fat tissue in the torso. When we use Spanish Black Radish, when they start taking it, it just kind of starts pulling stuff out and cleaning it up. So the after picture, let's say, if you get another infrared thermography picture 6 months later, everything looks much cleaner. There's less symptoms, less pain, less cysts. But in addition to that, reducing or modifying or completely eliminating wearing a bra will make the biggest difference of all. And there are some connections also to foods that people eat. So when you eat toxic food or drink toxic beverages, and there's a big thing, this popular notion that drinking caffeine causes fibrocystic breast disease. And I don't think that's true. I think drinking coffee with pesticides in it can contribute to the problem because of the toxins, and then you're wearing a bra and you can't, as Sid was explaining, you can't drain the toxins out. So in addition to not wearing a bra, I strongly suggest for prevention of these health conditions that you eat the cleanest possible diet. So I want to put a plug in for one of my partners, Farm Match. And if you understand the vital role that food plays in your health, the good news is there's a site where you can get matched to a small scale family farm that grows and sells super high quality, clean, nutrient dense food. Sometimes in your area, sometimes it's somewhere that they have to ship to you, but anywhere in the US, you can access this food. There's going to be a link in the description of this video that you can click on, and you put your zip code in, and it will match you with the closest farm near you. If there's one close to you, they have a pickup location, or they might deliver. If you're in a food desert, then it'll be shipped to you, and they do a really good job keeping the food fresh and cold till it gets to you. I get almost all my food from one of these farms, and it's really been a game changer for me and my family. I feel completely different since I started eating this way. By the way, if you're outside the US listening to this, I have a different link for you to locate such a farm. So the best way to change the world, I'm going to say, is to vote with your food dollars. And if you're a woman, to try Sid's suggestion to go bra free for a month. So getting back to our topic, Sid, so you mentioned that you have a study going, right, that women can participate in. I'm going to put a link to that, to the website where they can find that study. I was looking at it. Do they have a way of letting you know that they found you through this video? Because that would be fun too.
Yeah,
see how
we
many
talk with
lives we
them.
touched. Yeah.
Yeah, we do ask,
Okay.
it's actually a one-on-one type of a thing. We're anthropologists basically, which is different than an epidemiologist. We talk and communicate and want to know what your experience is. And that's how we learn so much. I wrote an article called If Breasts Could Talk, and it's preliminary results from our international bra-free study. And it's absolutely amazing how many women are really suffering from their bras. I mean, when you think about over 50% of the women have fibrocystic breasts, and it's almost always caused by the bra. And by the way, I can understand why some things would help flush out your lymphatics and help cleanse you and be a detox. There are many things we take in our bodies that cause inflammation. And if you can get rid of that inflammation, it'll make you feel a lot better. But in addition to the inflammation, if you're constricting your body, you just have a mechanical barrier that's damming up the flow.
Yeah.
So all of the nutrition is not going to work if you're cutting yourself, choking yourself.
It's not going to
what
be
I mean?
effective. Yeah. And I'm thinking about all of the other constrictive things that
Oh, yeah.
that people wear. Besides, you were mentioning men wearing tight underwear. We talked about socks. Pantyhose is just absolutely barbaric, in my opinion. I never touched
And
the
it's all
stuff.
synthetic. It's so synthetic.
Yeah.
It's like putting saran wrap next to your skin. It's plastic. It's like the same plastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
mind blowing when you realize it's plastic. If you go out in the sun in a plastic bra, like in your bikini bra, and the
Right.
sunlight UV breaks down the plastic and it breaks it down into the components that the plastic is
Right.
made of, which is highly toxic.
Right.
And you're wearing it right there in the sun.
Heat activates it. That's why,
And UV.
putting plastic in a microwave leaches all the chemicals into the food.
No, it's a crazy, and it's endocrine disruptors. I mean, it's causing
Right.
so many problems.
Right. I have a
So,
whole video on how plastic it causes hormonal
so
problems.
tight plastic clothing is obviously poisoning the body and keeping it in there.
Bathing suits are a huge culprit. Bathing suits are,
Yeah.
in my experience, bathing suits, the bra part of the bathing suit is tighter than a bra.
Oh yeah, because it's meant to really show off
Right.
and create cleavage. But you can't create cleavage without constant pressure. And if you think
Right.
about it, if the lymph nodes are drained, if the lymph is draining to the armpit, but cleavage pushes the breasts in, the fluid's supposed to go up and out, but the bra is pushing them up and in. It's completely opposing the normal flow of the lymphatics. And there are actually bras that were boasting to increase your bust size. If you wear this bra, your breasts will get bigger. I mean, there's only one way your breasts are going to get bigger from a bra when you're not
Right.
wearing it. And that's by cutting off your lymphatics and making you swollen with lymph.
Yeah.
You're swollen.
Yeah.
So women are walking around with toxic, swollen breasts. Then they take their bra off and they're in pain, some of them, because they're so reliant. So they think, oh, I got to keep it on. And they wear it 24/7.
Sleep with it. Yeah.
They wear it, which have the highest rates of all of these diseases. So a woman has to, I mean, and it's a self-esteem issue, and also it's a political issue, because, are women going to be free to do this at work? I used to know women who were massage therapists and agreed with me completely. In fact, this was a lymphatics massage expert, and she actually founded the National Lymphedema Network. So she was into lymphatic massage. This is like 30 years ago now. And she got rid of her bra over the weekend, and her cysts went away. She had fibrocystic breasts herself. But because she was a massage therapist and she felt uncomfortable professionally being with a patient without a bra on, she put it back on. Her cyst came right back. But she felt professionally. And I didn't agree with that. I said, if you're a professional health person, you should be setting an example.
You have to be a role model. You have to walk the walk. But I understand the issue, and
that's why it's a tough issue.
It's so deeply ingrained in the psyche
the culture
of all of us, men and women. And it's something that really it needs to, well, small steps, right? What you're doing with your study And hopefully a lot of people listening will try it, participate in it. If you're a man listening, please talk to the women that you love and care about this topic. And then if anybody watching this knows how to make clothing and you want to start maybe trying to design something that would be, a bridge to changing the way that we dress, I mean, including things like bathing suits, which we mentioned earlier, because they're really, I don't know of any that are okay, to wear.
No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You're talking about other clothing cause problems. Anything that's elastic holds on by compression. And people have to understand what compression is. Like if you would lie in bed too long on one side, like people would get bedridden, they get bed sores. They literally, the tissue will break down under pressure.
Right.
So because the circulation isn't happening. So if you have clothing that's constantly pressing on you, your body subconsciously, it's happening. It increases your stress level just having tight things on. But when the culture says, hey, that's cool, like, tight, there's something called tight jean syndrome from people wearing too tight jeans.
Yep.
It causes numbness and tingling in the nerves from compression.
Yep.
So compression injuries are real, but the medical industry ignores them. It should be the number one thing they look at. If you have a problem with your feet, the first thing you should think about is my shoes doing this to me? And all this, if you're not going to get cancer from these things, you can certainly get other diseases. Like, why does everybody have foot fungus? Yep. It's because of all these toxins on our feet killing our cells and making it ripe for things to grow on us. We're poisoning ourselves. Yeah. So, and not to mention the hammer toes and our toes get distorted, bunions. Our feet are bunions. All in the high heels, what that does to your pelvis and throat, all of these things, we call them culture caused disease or culturogenic. That's the word I coined to describe this. I had a chiropractor friend that told me about how having a wallet in your back pocket that you sit on throws off your spine. Yep. These are culture caused problems that we just do them because it's automatic. So a woman gets up, she puts on her bra because that's what you do. And when you challenge it, you think, wait a minute. The first thing I take off at the end of the day is my bra because it's so damn uncomfortable. Could this be hurting me? Could there be a correlation between comfort and discomfort and disease? Yes, obviously. That's why it's uncomfortable. Your body's telling you something. And if you don't listen to that message, that instinctive message of truth that we have, because the way I see us, I see us as having an innate truth and knowledge about health that we share with animals. I think we have instincts like the other animals do. We're animals, and we have a culture that lays over that and controls our animal selves, and sometimes makes us do things for culture's sake that goes against our natural needs. So it's like we have a natural hardware and natural software to support that. And then we take on these cultural apps that screw us up and start making us going against, to give you a metaphor that might work today, that goes against our hardware, and we start hurting ourselves. And there are many of them, many, working too hard with stressful lives, living the way we live in so many ways, the foods we eat, how we prepare it, how we eat it, how we cook it, acrylamide. I discovered acrylamide this year, and how it's created by cooking foods above 248 Fahrenheit.
Right, burning so that's foods essentially, yeah.
Well, but that's in roasting foods, all the coffee, all of they have high acrylamides. I discovered that the coffee substitute I was thinking I was drinking because I couldn't do caffeine. Yeah. So I was drinking this coffee substitute called Pero, and it had a warning on the box saying, this contains acrylamide. And then I looked into it, and it's like, holy cow, this is a major food safety problem.
There's so much misinformation about that. That's all the stuff I talk about all the time. And life is one long process of realizing and discovery, and all of it is modern living, and all, like what you're talking about, all the things that contribute to our not being able to achieve optimal health. Our lifestyles are not designed for us to be optimally healthy. So,
well, the other thing is, I'm sorry, we have to like tie it up now.
Finish.
No. Well, I'm never finished. because there's so many other things I've discovered, but another mechanical
I'm going to
things
have
that
you
I've
back.
discovered.
I'm going to have you
Yeah.
back. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you some of this off when we finish the podcast, just to tease you for the next time, because it's fascinating stuff that I really wish can get out more. But all of it is about simple mechanical issues that medicine ignores.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easy to rectify, and nobody's talking about it because there's no money involved. You don't have to buy anything.
I think on our next video, maybe we'll have a list of some of those things and practical suggestions, like not wearing a bra for people to be able to implement changes. I have some ideas too. So I want to thank you so much, Sid. This was really fascinating. I really enjoyed our conversation. I learned a lot myself. For those of you watching, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And the like button if this information was helpful. And last and most importantly, don't forget to share this video with anybody that you know and any woman that you love that you think would benefit from the information. And until I see you again, please stay healthy.